Hello, my name is Evan, and I'm going to be showing you how I do my weekly meal prep. Basically, it's just what I do every week as my base meal. The base that I normally will eat every day. Sometimes I'll eat additionally some other things. Typically, I'll always eat these things every single day. I'm going to be showing you what it takes to prepare this meal. All right, so I'm going to start with the blueberries. I already have them strained here. Just gonna weigh them. 2137. Go in here. Get the number written down. And then I'm done with the blueberries. Next I'm gonna do the strawberries. I'm not gonna count them as I go because that's too mentally consuming. So I'm just gonna put them in a bowl and then I'll count them when I'm done. Alright, and now what we can do is we can count them out into a container. Alright, so that came out to 154. So now I'm just going to put that number in my notes. So 154. And then next we can do the kiwi. Basically, I just decide based on the size whether I'm going to cut them into eighths or fourths, and I just make sure they're all good. And then I have the number that way. But 14, and because they're pretty large kiwi, I'm going to cut them in eighths. That just gives me 14 times 8, 112 kiwi. So that way, have that number. So next we're going to do the pineapple. Pineapple is going to go in the bowl. All right, now we're going to put the pineapple into a container and get the number. All right, we have 200 pineapple pieces, and if you noticed, I already have the oranges number. That's because I always get the amount of oranges that equals out to 3 pieces per bowl. All right, that's all the fruit. Now I'm just gonna kind of display the fridge situation I've got going on here. So this is a shake to finish up the rest of this week. So just to give you an idea, because I do shakes, which you'll see later in this video, this is one shake out of the 2 that I do per day. To give you an idea of what a day's worth looks like, this amount per day, it's about that much fruit per day. And then, of course, the apples. And then the bananas, I do about 3 bananas per 2 shakes. So about 1.5 bananas per shake. So yeah, that's all of this. What I was going to do was I wanted to weigh the fruit. Normally I don't do this, but this time I need to know the numbers because I am getting the exact calories. So I'll just go ahead and weigh these and then have those numbers. Obviously I don't need to do the blueberries because those are based off of weight. 763, 1460, 1115. 2150. I realized that I hadn't cut all the oranges. I accidentally forgot a third of them, so I cut the rest and I weighed them. All right, so now that we have all of the fruit cut, I'm going to go ahead and make my breakfast. At this point, we have the cutting done, obviously for the base fruits, but every morning I'm going to have to cut an apple, and then I slice my bananas before I put them in the shake bottles. 6 days, 24 bowls total. So we're just going to divide each number by 24. So we'll just go ahead and say 200 divided by 24. Right, so 8. So we're just rounding down. And 2137. 89. I'm actually going to need to keep that number So keep it over here to the right so that I can get the calories, which I haven't done yet. Let's see if this one has. So like, for example, this one has 4.6. So basically, let's say it was 4.5. That comes out to 9 per 2 bowls. So then I break it down to 4 and 5. This is for 2 people. So each person gets a bowl with 4 and each person gets a bowl with 5. So I'm going to start with my shakes. Basically, every morning I get the 2 shakes for the day ready. I'm going to add 1/2 of the apple to each shake. And now the bananas. If you can see here, we've already taken up 3/4 of the space in these, but you can pretty easily use a pestle, and then you can just kind of like press it down a little bit. Next, we're gonna go through the fruit. So the blueberries and strawberries, I put in my oatmeal rather than my shake. So I'm gonna put 4. So the numbers were for the kiwi 4 and 5. So basically I'll just, in this situation, take the 5th one, cut it in half, just even it up that way. And they each get 3 oranges. They each got 8 pineapple pieces this week. And then now I have my 2 shakes here. We're going to go ahead and put a lid, one of the NutriBullet lids, on the evening shake, and we can just stick that in the fridge. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our oatmeal ready. I have this device here to slice the strawberries. So I'm just going to take my 12 strawberries for the day. Then I can weigh the blueberries. Got that amount. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the strawberries into this bowl. And then we have our mixture here that we will add the oatmeal to. So I'm just using the Kroger Old Fashioned Oats and the Blue Diamond lightly salted almonds. That's it for the oatmeal. I'm going to end up adding the water up to like the brim. We have hemp seeds here, 1 tablespoon, and 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. And then we're going to blend our shake here. Like so. That's all. All right, for dinner, we're going to start with our rice and lentils here. We have 300 grams of each. So we'll just start by adding some water to this rice. This should be enough. This pot just goes in here. So, and then that's all you have to do. And then it'll start in a few seconds, heating up, and then it'll cook it. The rest of the dinner takes about 15 minutes to cook. We're going to wait until that rice timer gets down to 15 minutes, so 30 minutes from now. And then we'll start working with the lentils. For now, we can leave them here in the pot. And then we'll add water and we'll start cooking those in about 30 minutes. All right, so it's been exactly 30 minutes. We have the rice at 15 remaining and 4 cups of water we have measured out for the lentils here. So we can just start by adding 4 cups of water into a pot. And then we're going to put this on high. And that'll be on high for 5 minutes. All right, the timer's going off. It's been 5 minutes. The lentils are boiling. What we're gonna do is turn them from high to 5. Put it on 5 there. Then from here, we're going to take our vegetables. We have the corn and sweet potatoes. We're going to just put these in a bowl just so that they don't leak everywhere. Microwave those for 10 minutes. And then over here, we have just a little bit more prep to do. So we have some ingredients we're adding to the dinner. We have vegetable broth, green salsa, roasted red pepper, strips, and diced tomatoes with green chilies. We're adding all of those things into a little saucepan. We're doing 2 cups of the broth. In this, we have the roasted red peppers. I just sliced them. I've also added in here a half cup of these. We're going to do 1 cup of the green salsa. And then we're going to put this all in here. We'll put it on like a 5.5 or 6. We don't need it to be hot or cooked. It's just kept in the refrigerator. So just don't want to make my food cold. All right, our microwave is at 1 minute. We're going to be adding these ingredients here very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and take those off. And I'm going to strain them with this here just by tipping the pot. And then broth and the vegetables are done. We're going to start by adding the sweet potatoes first. And the reason I do that is that sometimes there's bad sweet potatoes. I'm just going to do a manual check for that. They all look okay. Corn, rice, Alright, so here I've entered into MyFitnessPal all of the food I've eaten in this video. I got it down to a T, like literally exactly what I ate in this video. So if we look at the calories and things of that nature here, a total of 3,409 calories. Sodium's a bit high. Sugar is high, but there's no processed added refined sugars in there at all, so that's okay. Everything looks pretty good. I'd like to increase the protein a bit, maybe reduce the carbs. But yeah, it's interesting to look at this, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and maybe you can try one of these meals and like it.